Hello everybody, and today we're going to go over a strategy, how you can win against armies that love to deep strike. Okay, one of the best parts of this strategy is it'll work with most of your normal lists, so you don't have to custom build to beat any army, because I don't like doing that, that just sucks. So okay, the best units to beat deep striking units are the awesome cute scarabs, units of wraiths, tomb blades because they're fast but not everybody uses them, and of course the way to beat them is if they got like 40 to 50% of the army in reserve, like they go into the maximum number allowed, that's perfect for us, okay? So turn 1, you want to set up your army, so it covers pretty much your entire deployment area. Oops, this came out. So it covers your deployment area fully. So let's get started on that. The deep side allies in reserves. Okay, your turn 1. You race in the middle as well. Wraiths are really good in the middle, they take up a lot of fire. Think of Wraiths as an expensive sacrificial unit. I use them as sacrificial units, and I am surprised if they survive past turn 3 or 4. And normally I lose them against a good opponent turn 2 to turn 3. But don't be afraid to lose these guys, alright? Their job is to go in there, take up fire and cause mayhem. Okay, so how you beat deep striking armies? So they are the Grey Knights over there, right, and the Baby Carrier. That's that Nightbringer there. Okay, I know what the Baby Carrier is called. It's like a Dread Knight, I think. Yeah, Dread Knight. So Nightbringer is a Baby Carrier, okay? So you go turn 1, right? Let's try and get as many objectives as possible. If you can't get them, don't worry. But what you want to do is keep all your units within 17 inches of each other. Not 9 inches, 17. Because that way, they can't deep strike on either side, so you got an 18-inch gap. You're 9 inches from one unit, like so. So these are going to move up into this building here, so they'll be there. So they can deep strike there. If you advance roll, and you're there, you can have an entire open board here that's denied to deep strike, because they're 9 from there and 9 from there. Unless you bring in single characters, it's almost impossible to fit in a unit there. Of course, you need to make sure you're 9 inches this way. You can make an area that your opponent is unable to deep strike into. You can make a triangle, hexagon, whatever. So turn 1, you want to advance up your scarabs. Okay, these are going to advance, these are going to advance, so they get like I always get like 2s of scarabs, so they're like there. These will probably end up there. Right, the best thing about being on the side with the scarabs is if you're playing with ITC rules or you're playing with a lot of nice terrain. I personally was trying to build my terrain so you can't see through the bottom floor. Okay, so I would do, move the scarabs, hide them in a building that no one can see, or a big piece of terrain if you're lucky, or a hill because they're so small. And that way, they can't be shot, the outline sight, and I would leave them there all game. Keep denying now all this area here, so your opponent can only deep strike this part here. Wait, that's another good tip for beating deep striking armies, okay? You don't want to deny your opponent to come in, you want to make sure he comes in where you want him to come in. So if you take up all the sides of the board, and you leave the middle open, you can blast the living crap out of him next turn. But I would recommend you try and take over as much board control as possible. So like most of his armies in those buildings there, outline of sight because he lost first turn. So I've got them there, my advance roll. At the end of my turn, I'll check a death mark here to claim his objectives, just because I like to have as many objectives as possible, even though I don't need them. 2-inch gap. I take over this corner here, like so. And then I would try and get as close as possible to the baby carrier and such over here. There's a good chance I'm going to lose him next turn, I don't really care. Because you still can't get in. Like so. Okay. My turn 1, right? I haven't been able to shoot much because I'm still ranged with the Immortals. What I've effectively done turn 1 is stopped half his army coming in. You'd be lucky to squeeze in one unit here, maybe 2, but it doesn't matter because I can put every ounce of firepower I have into that unit in that corner, and he will know that. So his turn 1 now, his entire army will probably come in this side of the board. Well, you might keep him in reserve till next turn. If he does that, that'll cost him the game, okay? Because your goal for your first turn is to deny as much area as you possibly can. Okay, my turn 1, because he kept about 50% of his army in reserves, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 5 objectives turn 1. So then he will be forced then to bring his units in on his deployment area. Maybe one in mine, but that's where the real problems start happening. Yeah, so by doing this now, right, he's forced to make a decision to bring some guys in my area, which I wanted them up in here, because they probably have like melee units. So he doesn't really want to bring up melee units in his own deployment area and then walk them across the board to be shot to death. His goal, see if he's playing deep striking units, is to be in your face turn 1. So the only place he can basically go is in that corner if you don't block it up. That's just my basic objective grabbers and scarabs. If I had like tomb blades and such, I'd put them in the corners so they're really fast I can run up the board next turn. I keep some cheap units around to stop them coming to my area. So this turn 1, he's basically forced to put things in his deployment area. And if he has to put all his melee stuff over there, the game is yours, because you've taken over the entire board and he's playing defensively. It doesn't matter if he wipes out your entire army by turn 4 or 5 because you'll have all the points. As long as you keep 1 or 2 people alive, you'll win. And he'll be like, do I leave it now till next turn to make a hole and bring him in? If he does that, that'll cost him the game, because your next turn, I'll probably leave the scabs in the centre, just to stop aerial denial, just to stop deep striking. Bring these up over here, like so. And I'll be 100% honest with you. Right, I'll be honest with you. I move, oops, this one, like so. I move those death marks up. And my turn 2, I'd be seriously tempted not to even charge with the race, depending on what he has. Because if you got a good army, you'd have long-range weapons taking shots at these guys as well. So there's a good chance these would die if you move your mortals up and such, just keeping the area denial. It looks really spread thin with the army, but it's making him go over there. And if you're very lucky in the way you play your army, okay, if you have an extra unit of death marks, you can deep strike him in this corner or such, or just pile in. If you can cover the entire board and stop him deep striking in, he's dead. If turn 2, so he's better not to attack with the race to keep the area denial, just to stop him bringing units in. If you can keep his units in reserve till the end of his turn 3, okay, they all die. You can win a game just by doing this. And this is just the basic backbone. You've got your immortals, some scavs, some meat shield, and some wraiths. You should be taking stuff like that anyway, just for counter what your opponent brings. If you bring in destroyers, heavy destroyers, anything that's fast, like a tank is huge. There's a Doomsday Ark. You can plonk him in your corner, and then you just on the side, like so, and you've got all that area there, so the scabs over there can go further in. If you block up 2 corners with Doomsday Arks, that's much easier to have ball control. And you can always move your tank up into the middle of the field, and because it's so fat, you can deny all that area there, and all this can go up even more. This is just showing you the basics with the basic layout. This is just your basic backbone. But make sure you use the 2-inch gap, okay? 2-inch gap per model is a lot. You can deny a lot more. That's an extra 6 inches of denial space. If you go like this, it's barely anything. If you do 2 inches a piece, it gains 6 inches. Okay. So against a deep striking army, this can win you the game. This is just the backbone. Use the other units, block up as much as possible. Of course you want to race in combat, so if you can get something else to take the place, like an extra unit of destroyers or something there, just to deny all this, or more death marks, charge. The charging is the best thing you can do, okay, on your turn 2, because you're denying every option of him deep striking in. Okay, we have a tank! Wah. So you'd be there like turn 2, running up, taking shots with Melter, hitting on 4s, who cares, the reroll is what you want. These guys will take the place over here, some guys in there maybe, so you might charge those guys in there with the wraiths or whatever. Easy moving up, so on. You see the size of this area now with 1 tank is huge. 1 or 2 tanks will take over the entire board. So depending on the terrain as such, play accordingly. If you can get to combat with a race turn 2, which should be very possible, especially if you've got 2 units, you've got a unit on the other side there, coming from the side. That way, turn 2, right, it will be impossible. It would be impossible for him to bring his units in. If you can achieve that turn 2, he is lost. Okay, you might be extremely lucky and pull off turn 1. If he makes the mistake and leaves his army in reserve turn 2, hoping to come in and kill you, he is dead. Okay? So like psychic powers to make you teleport across the board, so it'll be 9 inches away. Perfect. This is amazing for that. But don't forget, right, at the end of turn 3, everything in reserve is dead. Alright, so if you can keep him on the table, keep him locked in combat for another turn or 2, half his army is gone, and you should be tabling him by turn 4 or 5. Okay? So if you're fighting Grey Knights or stuff like the Deepstrike, very good strategy, take over the board and use the tanks as area of denial. You know, 1 or 2 spiders, you can block off almost the entire board. 9 inches apart from each other, 18 inches apart. Massive, massive bubble. Not only will you win on points, you'll probably win with a tabling. So, deep striking units are very good. But this strategy normally only works if you get turn 1. Okay? So if you get Caesar's initiative and you're lucky to nick it off a Grey Knight player, just go for it. Try and take over the entire board turn 1. Turn 2, lock him in combat. But if you lock him in combat, you deny the rest of his deployment area as a deep strike zone. So by doing that, you should be able to table Grey Knight players really easily. It doesn't matter what they got like a 1-up invuln for, like, yeah, I know you can't have that, but whatever. Just lock them in till turn 3, dead, game over. Bring up your tanks, block up the areas, use your scarabs. Try to keep the scarabs at line of sight, and just keep them busy. So that's how you deal with deep striking armies. So if people like to put 50% of the army in reserve, like, oh, turn 2 and just chuck them there and blow up your HQ. Just say, ha 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 ha, you just lost now, screw you, game over. So, thank you for watching, and I hope this helps you out, and I'll see you again in the next video.